This dent was deep. I had a real fight to get the centre up, and in today's video I'm going to show you the steps I took to fully remove this roof rail dent with Paintless Dent Removal. So stay tuned. So my customer had this nasty dent on the roof rail of our Audi A3. As you can see, it's pretty deep. So this is my main focus point here, but you can see I've got a similar dent just above it on the roof panel itself. So the roof panel dent doesn't bother me so much, but the rail dent is going to be tricky. Because it's deep, my main focus is to get that centre of the dent up, that lowest point. If I can't get the centre up, then I can't repair the dent. So my main focus is solely what do I need to do to get the centre of this dent up into a good position where I can repair and blend out the rest of the panel. So I decided to start this repair with one of the square smooth series tabs from Black Plague PDR. Now my thought process is if I get a decent sized tab, I can apply a lot of glue, and that's really going to help me give me maximum adhesion to start moving some metal. Using my slide hammer, I'm able to start giving it a few pulls and just start to feel how that metal responds. That first glue pull has slightly reduced the dent. You can see it's slightly less in size in this shot, but you can still see I've got a nasty crease, that kind of centre point. But it did give me some movement, so I'm going to repeat that process again. The slide hammer that I'm using is from BLE Tools, and it's got a spring, a damper in that rear handle. I really like being able to adjust the tool to suit the type of dent that I'm trying to repair. I can have that handle screwed in tight and it gives me a really sharp pull to kind of shock the panel, or I can loosen it out and use that spring to give me a more gradual pull, more flex right through the centre of that tab. As I'm starting to make good progress lifting up that rail dent, I'm going to place a tab on the roof and begin that same process so I can work on both dents at the same time throughout this repair. My rail dent is now smaller, so I'm dropping down in the size of my tab. I'm still using a square smooth series to give me maximum adhesion, but as my dents got smaller, my tabs got smaller to allow me to just focus on that centre, the lowest point. If you keep a close eye on the reflections surrounding this tab, you'll see with each one of my pulls I'm gradually lifting up the low, reducing that dent size, and you can actually see that reflection being brought in, tightened up towards the tab. And now after our first stage of glue pulling, let's have a quick look and see how we're getting on. So this is that top dent on the roof. You can see the last few pulls reduced the size and brought it up slightly high. And my main dent on the rail, you can see about those nasty shoulders. This is where it brings up high spots surrounding the centre point. So the process here is to knock down those shoulders as I bring the metal up, tap it down, and this is also referred to as opening up the dent. To allow me to continue to lift the centre, I need to tackle the tension that's surrounding it. And that's what we refer to as the shoulders. So right now I'm tapping down the shoulders surrounding my low spot. That opens up the dent, allows me to get a tab clearly onto the centre, and again repeat that process of lifting up the centre of my dent. I've switched my tabs out now for one of the black ice ones. It's still smooth and square, but these have next to no flex in them, so you can really focus that energy right through the centre of the neck on this tab to the centre of the dent and really give it a shock, really try and lift up that centre with some force. As my roof dent gets smaller, so does my tab size. So I'm using quite a small round tab here to really isolate to the small round low that we saw earlier on in the reflection of the roof. And when it comes to this rail dent, I'm switching tactics and now using my robo lifter. This is the lifter from Kiko. I've said it 100 times before, but I love this lifter. I love how manoeuvrable it is and how you can adjust the pressure and also angle the feet around contours working on panels such as this. And just look at the shoulders surrounding this dent now. That robo lifter really gave me some good power to be able to lift up the panel. And I knew the dent was going to look worse before it looked better. With deep dents like this, it's common practice to continually open up the dent and repeat that repair process. So throughout this repair, you're going to see me lift up the whole area, which creates that volcano effect, those shoulders. I'm going to tap those down, releasing the tension, which opens up the panel, or at least softens up that low, allowing me to put my glue tab on it and repeat that process. If you enjoy my videos and you learn from the training that I put out here on YouTube, do me a favour, hit that subscribe button right now. So I'm just positioning my lifter now to make sure that I'm pulling the tab up and outwards in a straight line. Any kind of angle will pull the panel in an angle. So I really want this straight on. I've got my hand just squeezing the trigger to apply some tension, and then with my left hand you can see me now tightening it up, and that just allows a really nice gradual pull, and I'm keeping a close eye just watching that metal gradually be brought up. Yeah, I know, it's looking pretty messy, but that centre is finally starting to play ball. As you can see, it's coming up closer and closer to the top. Now I have put a hell of a lot of tension into this panel. You can really see the tight lines here, and those shoulders surrounding my dent. But if I can bring the panel up, then I know I can tap it down. That's why my main focus is solely on bringing up the centre point of the dent. No matter how high I bring that metal up, how much tension I create, I know that I can remove that in the tap down process. And as you can see, it's already looking a lot cleaner. At this stage in the repair, I'm left with multiple small lows, so of course I'm using the smaller tabs now to help me remove these. So now as we assess the repair again, you can see that I finally brought up the centre. My centre section of this dent is now sitting slightly high, and there's a few little low spots and high spots within the repair area which I'll tackle during the finishing stages. but finally I've brought the centre of this dent up. So now that I've opened up the dent, released a lot of the tension, the panel becomes a lot more malleable. It's easier for me to work on the metal, and I'm getting better results with lifting up the centre. Have a look at this once I remove this tab. It's a really nice clean high. I've managed to target one of those centre lows, lift it with the tab and the lifter, and as you can see I'm gradually tapping down that tension again. Now you can really see the metal move, so keep watching. I'm going to replay this little section at supersonic speed and you'll really get an idea of that metal flow and how the tension gets released into the panel. So we've got some texture in our repair area, but hopefully you can see it's quite a soft, shallow dent now in general. So I'm using a much more gentle approach now with my glue pull and my tabs. Having released the tension and brought up that centre, metal's a lot more manoeuvrable, so I need less force to get the same results. Because I'm now looking at the dent as a fairly shallow overall dent, I'm gradually lifting up that whole area again. And you can see we're really starting to make progress. The way those lines curve across the panel shows the natural contour of the panel, and I'm really starting to get these lines to read true again, so the overall shape is coming back into the panel. So now I'm going to switch to some blending. I love blending across rails. It's a really nice small tight section of the panel and it really responds well to blending. So the blending process does two things. One, it removes some of the tension and some of the highs in the repair area, blends out that tension into the surrounding panel, but also it blends my repair area into the existing texture of the paintwork. So different size heads on the blending hammer create different size kind of dimples or texture into the panel. So if I can blend out my texture and my repair into the area, I'm going to end up with a really nice finish. During the blending process you do create small little lows. If they're too low, then I'm lifting back out with a glue pull and then repeating that process blending across the panel. And now as we look at the repair area in that natural light, you can see I've got a really nice clean panel. There's a small amount of texture right in my repair area which we can just pick up here with a line board. So I'm going to give it just a few more little taps with a very fine tip tap down, and that's just going to help me get a nice clean finish. Now if you're one of the few dedicated people still watching the repair at this late stage in the video, then hopefully you're learning from it and you're enjoying my videos. Now if you do like my video, don't forget to tell me, and you can tell me by hitting that thumbs up button. You can also subscribe to my channel. If you've got any questions, any comments, do pop them straight below this video in the comment section. I do try and come back to every comment I get. So overall I'm really pleased with how this repair came out. There's a small amount of texture or distortion in the reflection using my tight line board, but in the natural light, what I call a customer view, it looks perfect. And for how deep this dent was, I'm really pleased that I've been able to restore this panel and save it going to a body shop to have the roof and rail repaired and painted. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and as always, I'll see you in the next.